Hey guys, this is me, Shrav. I wanted to tell you guys about my first solo. It was the events of the Denver midair over Centennial Airport, a bit south over Cherry Creek. It happened on May 12th, and I'd like to let you guys know what I saw and what I think happened, my deduction. But here's my solo t shirt. I'll show you the logbook as well, just to prove that I was actually the student solo pilot following, and we'll recount the events together. During your first solo, you're supposed to do, I believe, 3 touch and goes or 3 landings. And your first one is saying, hey, I can land the plane myself. I don't need an instructor. I got this. The second one is saying, hey, that first landing was not a fluke. I can actually land the plane. And the third one is to really emphasize that fact. But I decided to do a fourth one because my best friend, about a year ago, passed away. He committed suicide, and that really showed me that I didn't have all the time in the world to pursue the passions I had, as well as the future goals I wanted to accomplish. And so this fourth landing was for him. And it's funny enough that on the fourth one, I end up witnessing a midair and no one is injured. I felt like, maybe he was watching over that day. But before this solo, I had a lot of flight hours going into it just because planes would go down for maintenance. For about a month, I was waiting. There would be bad weather, thunderstorms, snow, hail, ice, whatnot. Eventually, we got it done, and now we have a story to tell. This is 17 right. This is 17 left. This is Cessna 251, which is me. Down there is the red Cirrus, which is 6 Delta Juliet. Over there is the Keylime Metroliner. Blue shirt over there is the Cherry Creek Reservoir. Let's get started.
Centennial Tower, could we make this next one a full stop, 65251?
251, roger.
So I'm out there asking for a full stop as Cessna 65251.
Cessna 3 Tango Charlie, no delay, cross 17 left.
No delay, cross 17 left, 733 Tango Charlie.
Cessna 251, widen out to the northwest 15 degrees, you're going to follow Cirrus. Traffic does ahead to the left.
I'm widening up my pattern now because the Cirrus is joining the pattern.
Up 15 degrees, following traffic to the left, 65251.
Cirrus 6 Delta Juliet, traffic at your 1 to 2 o'clock a mile, about to turn base as a Skyhawk 6800.
He calls out traffic at 1 to 2 o'clock. He's calling out me.
Looking for traffic, 6 Delta Juliet.
Cirrus 6 Delta Juliet, fly towards the west shore of Cherry Creek.
6 Delta Juliet, the red Cirrus, is supposed to fly to the west shore of Cherry Creek, which he does. And since this direction is south, that's north, that's west, he's flying to this point over here on Cherry Creek Reservoir.
The west shore of Cherry Creek for 6 Delta Juliet.
Cirrus 6 Delta Juliet, traffic you're following just turned right base. They're heading to the right, 6,600 Cessna.
Traffic in sight, 6 Delta Juliet.
So the red Cirrus 6 Delta Juliet calls out that he has a traffic to follow for 17 right, and that it's a Cessna. So basically where this Cessna is, it's going to be over here. They're coming into land for 17 right.
Cirrus 6 Delta Juliet, follow them, runway 17 right, cleared to land. Additional traffic, north shore is the Metroliner for the parallel.
Traffic in sight, cleared to land, 17 right, 6 Delta Juliet.
So this is the point where it was very ambiguous because at the north shore of Cherry Creek Reservoir, you have the Metroliner, and he also has this traffic to follow, which is the landing Cessna. Now, we don't know what traffic he called that he had in sight, but he was warned about both traffics, one that he had to follow and one at the north shore of Cherry Creek Reservoir, which was landing on the parallel.
Cessna 251, you're following a Cirrus, right space, or I-25 and Arapahoe. Report the Cirrus in sight.
Traffic in sight, 251.
Cessna 251.
So I see him. He's a red Cirrus. He kind of pops out in the sky. And currently, this guy is a little bit higher than him. A Metroliner is lower in altitude compared to the Cirrus. I see him. The first thing I noticed, which I asked my flight instructor about, was that, hey, that Cirrus was going very fast when I was watching him in the pattern. He was going maybe like 150, 160 knots. Turns out he was going around 170 based on radar tracks. My flight instructor told me the Cirruses are a bit faster than 172s and they have a different final approach speed. I thought of that pretty lightly until I saw the radar tracks once the event unfolded on YouTube.
1, follow Cirrus, runway 17 right, number 4, clear to land.
17 right, number 4, clear to land.
32, taxi north on Bravo, hold short of runway 17.
So I get told, follow the Cirrus, and I'm clear to land. I'm number 4 in the pattern.
Left at Bravo 8.
64332, hold short of Bravo 8 after taxi down Bravo.
Cessna 332, need the runway in there, hold short runway 17 left.
Holding short of 17 left at Bravo 8, 64332.
Thank you.
Tower 733 Tango Charlie on this frequency.
Cessna 3 Tango Charlie, ground point 8. Thank you.
7.8, 733 Tango Charlie.
Cirrus 6 Delta.
So about 20 seconds before this, I see the crash happen, and I see the Cirrus pop shoot. I also realize something's not right.
Juliet, do not overshoot the final. Cirrus 6 Delta Juliet, do you require assistance? Cirrus 6 Delta Juliet, if you hear this transmission, we have emergency vehicles, your direction. Cessna 251, do not overshoot final. There is an aircraft that is in distress just south of Cherry Creek Reservoir.
Yeah, they just pulled chute, 251.
Cessna 251, if you can give me an accurate location, we would appreciate it.
They're about 2 miles by those buildings right off 35. Yeah, I see a parachute.
Yeah, the parachute is just south of the reservoir, is in the airport vicinity, just south of the reservoir, correct?
About a mile from the reservoir.
So at this point, I'm pretty much flying over him, and I do see someone on the ground, but I don't want to report it to tower, since it could be my eyes playing tricks. I don't want to put unknown information out there if I can't 100% verify it. And I also wait a little bit after I see the chute pull. I don't want to congest the frequency while that Cirrus is in distress and possibly needs to talk to tower to get emergency personnel either to him, and then I let him know, hey, I see him about 2 miles from the Cherry Creek Reservoir and 1 mile from 35, and he's right down the extended center line. He's near a patch of buildings, but it's hard to really describe that, especially as being a student pilot on my first solo.
64332 can confirm the parachute was directly in front of runway 35.
Thank you.
64332 holding short of 17 at Bravo 8.
Thank you.
Attack air.
Thank you. Cirrus 8 Juliet Sierra, it's going to be a moment. I'll be right with you as soon as I can.
Fine, thank you. 8 Juliet Sierra.
That was the clip, and let's go into the debriefing of what I saw in my view as well as my perspective. Since flying is 3 dimensions, we have to talk about 3 dimensions. We can't just show a 2-dimensional picture and you get the whole story. We have our Metroliner here, green, and we have our Cirrus low wing. I know it's silver, but the actual plane that crashed was red. During the base leg of the Cirrus and the final leg of the Metroliner, I saw the Cirrus was coming in a bit higher. Metroliner, it's literally green. It kind of blends in with the ground if you're coming from a little bit higher altitude. So one of the problems was that, one, he may have not actually heard the controller, rather than just listened to the controller rather than actually hearing him. Green Metroliner, and it blended in with the ground. Second of all, he was coming in very fast. From the ground tracks, he was about 170 knots, I believe, on radar. When I saw him, I estimated to be 150, but perspective changes speed estimations. And I just thought, maybe he's a faster plane. He comes in faster. He lands faster. It's not 150 knots fast. So Metroliner, he states that he has a right engine failure after the crash, which kind of makes sense based off this perspective. He comes in. What I see him make a very hard bank and barely miss the plane, come out on a very nose down attitude as well as very banked. The reason I think he pulled a chute was because he was in a stall to spin condition. As we saw later, he never lost any of his wings. He has a composite plane, but it never broke apart. I thought when I first saw it, he pulled a chute because he banked very hard. Stall speed goes up during a bank when you have high G loads. He was in a stall to spin condition, very low to the ground, about 500, 600 feet, and he was pretty much on final, and there was really nothing he could do. But what happened in actuality, his right wing clicked the top of the Metroliner, and I'm sure he lost a lot of momentum due to that. The Metroliner pilot hears a loud bang from the right side. I'm assuming that's why he called right engine failure. I'm sure there were cross checks, and maybe he did clip something on the Metroliner that caused the right engine to fail, but I'm not sure about that. I'd have to talk to the pilot. So He clips that. I don't see any debris because it all caves into the plane, and I think he bounced a little bit since the Cirrus is a much smaller plane than the Metroliner. Not much smaller, but it is relatively smaller. He bounced a little bit, came on the other side, and this is when I saw he was in that very banked attitude. And so this is about the moment he pulled a chute. He said, "Hey, I'm not going to make this. I'm pretty sure I hit a plane." And he popped a chute and landed safely on the ground, while the Metroliner pilot went on final and successfully landed very coolly and calm, even though he just got hit by a plane. In my opinion, yes, it is the Cirrus's fault, but only because he was coming in very fast, and I think he should have paid attention to that. I think there was a miscommunication about the traffic he was to follow, as well as the traffic on the parallel. That could play a big part in it as well. That is what I saw. I'm really glad that everyone made it out alive. Kind of a big miracle since it was such a low altitude midair. I think if that Cirrus pilot had not banked as hard as he did, it could have been a lot more catastrophic because it would have been a head-on collision. And if he had not banked this hard, it would have been a lot more than just his wing clipping the tail end of the Metroliner. And even that, I'm sure he pulled up, induced a lot of G's on his plane, possibly induced a stall to spin condition, but he hit the very top of the Metroliner, and that is really what saved everyone's lives in that situation. Well, that's the debrief. As for me, I just got my pilot's license on June 14th, which was like about a month after my solo. Completed my check ride successfully, so I have my ticket now. For the future, if you notice the Sparrow's book, it's military flight aptitude, and I've finished all the required Air Force testing, and I'm still flying for fun, but I'm hoping to push my passion for flying into a career with the Guard Reserve and hopefully get a pilot slot in the United States Air Force. If you guys want to know anything more or have any suggestions on what I should do next, please throw it in the comments. Be safe out there and don't overshoot final.